Dome fans on their feet again for women's basketball after an exciting 2023-24 campaign. Underway between Syracuse and Niagara. Tough to determine possession, and we'll tie up on the toss. Let's do it again.
Already saw, though, this is a very scrappy Purple Eagles team, fighting tooth and nail for that ball.
Cutting 6 seconds short off this game, and it will be Niagara to start with the basketball. Here is Amelia Strong through traffic, fighting against the trees down low. Give us another jump ball. No. Officials say that ball was kicked before we got the tie-up, or else we would have had a second jump ball in the first 20 seconds.
This ball is flying all over the place. The Eagles, comfortable with that, forced 65 turnovers in their exhibition game last week.
Safiatu Kalibo, the sophomore out of Willingboro, New Jersey, inbounds for Niagara. Georgian court transfer. First shot for Niagara comes up too strong. And here is Dominique Camp handling the point guard roles for the Syracuse Orange. Missed all of last season with an injury. And there is the suffocating pressure. Niagara likes to dub its press Hurricane Havoc. And a little havoc caused by Coach Pierce's team early. Syracuse starting five. We mentioned the point guard, Dominique Camp, who inbounds it. Couple of Aussies in there as well, and then it's Isabel Verajao who gets the first points for the Cuse. Veteran 6th year. Niagara pushes the pace. Amelia Strong the answer. And here is the full press. Lola's pass intercepted. Dickerson right down the lane. Too strong.
Camp with her second rebound already. She's been feisty down low.
Whistle goes against Niagara. Is that on Amelia Strong? Instead, it's on Dickerson. Marley Dickerson leading the point guard role for Niagara. Amelia Strong, the one we mentioned, can't get into foul trouble. Full court pass for Burrows. Fakes the layup and then gets it to go.
Good adjustment early by Syracuse to go over the press that plays very, very far up to the baseline.
We mentioned a little bit about Syracuse's one exhibition. In Niagara's lone exhibition against Roberts Wesleyan, they turned the ball over 65 times. And Syracuse forces the issue to take a 4-point early lead. It was Niagara forcing Roberts Wesleyan into an early timeout in the exhibition. It's Syracuse forcing an early timeout from the Purple Eagles. Just a minute and a half in the Dome.
And to make sure to keep up with the latest news on Syracuse women's basketball, you can follow them on Instagram, X, and Facebook at CuseWBB.
Jersey for Dom Camp. A number of stops in her collegiate career, and great to see her back out there healthy again. Air ball for Kalibo out of the timeout. Niagara will press you, made bucket or miss bucket, Tyler.
And Georgia Woolley certainly didn't seem ready there. Coach Jack knows Jada Pierce, played against her a lot when she coached at Buffalo and played against Niagara pretty much every year. Called Coach Pierce a defensive juggernaut.
There's another baseball pass turned into a jump ball between Georgia Woolley and Marley Dickerson. It stays with the Orange. Leggett Jack did have success coaching against Coach Pierce. 5-1 against her when she was coaching at Buffalo.
And despite all those wins, she said she didn't really learn any tips or tricks on how to break the Pierce press. You just have to do your best to pass out of it quick.
She did call Coach Pierce a defensive juggernaut of a coach earlier today. Rolling under pressure. Here comes the trap. Tries to find Wood. Through traffic, can't get it to go. Verajal tries to sky in. Thought that Niagara stepped out of bounds, and then the Purple Eagles and Dickerson going a little too quick in transition.
Well, that's always the risk when you move fast. 20 turnovers per game last year from the Purple Eagles. They turn the ball over, but also force turnovers. It's a give and take.
Both of these teams want to force the issue, want to push the pace, and another turnover caused by the Purple Eagles. Camp gets it right back to Wood. Through the contact, got it to go.
I mean, how about this? She missed a layup right in front of the basket on the last possession, and then here, falling to the ground, still gets it to go. Impressive.
Hey, you're pitching. You're by yourself. Hey, box back hard. What? Box out. Box hard.
One free throw to try and tack on for Wood. Consistent starter in the back half of the season last year for the Orange. And a consistent rebounder as well. Olivo off her foot, keeps it, now slips it down for Strong. Over Verajal, gets the roll.
Any points that Niagara can get in the paint will be a win, going against two really tall players in Verajal and Wood.
Woolley, step back for her first bucket. No. And Burrows crashes the glass. It'll stay with the Orange. Get Lori Porter with her first person.
I mean, that's the type of effort you're going to need to give on those box outs against Syracuse. But any foul that's not on Amelia Strong is A-OK with the Eagles.
That's actually the second on Porter, so she heads to the bench. Foul trouble was a bit of a concern all of last year for this Purple Eagles team. That comes with that high pressure. Forces turnovers, also forces fouls. Just the aggressive nature of this Niagara team. Strong thought about it. Now the jump shot long from Rutledge, and the rebound last touched by Niagara.
Purple Eagles doing a really good job of attacking the offensive glass. Haven't gotten many yet, but they're putting pressure on Syracuse, and it's easy to stay up in that press when you're already up there for the board.
Woolley goes behind the back from the free throw line, got it to go. First points for Georgia Woolley in her senior season. Dickerson the other way. These two teams are flying up and down the court. Look at Woolley out in front of the pack again. Can't quite get to it.
What a behind-the-back dribble. Woolley with her first bucket of the season. She's good for about 14 points, in all 3 of her years with Syracuse. Without Deasia Fair on the roster, the scoring load, the scoring pressure, a lot higher on Woolley.
Woolley has been a consistent scorer each of her first 3 seasons. That one just dancing on the end line. Last touch might have been off Woolley. It stays with the Purple Eagles. But that's a big talking point coming into this year, is how can Woolley step her game up without Deasia Fair on this year's Orange team. And she's been kind of in the shadows of Deasia Fair each of her first 3 collegiate seasons. She's been the 2nd leading scorer all 3 seasons behind Fair. Step back 3 for Niagara. That one finds the bottom of the barrel from Dickerson.
There's certainly an opportunity for Woolley to step up. Syracuse lost 3 of its top 4 scorers from last year in Deasia Fair, Elena Rice, and Alyssa Latham. Woolley's really the only big returning scorer.
Tries to set up Burrows. First 3 ball for the Cuse tonight.
A little bit of sloppy footing from Woolley on that pass, but it doesn't get called, and she actually, now it's to the bench for her first break of the day.
Aussie to Aussie, and a couple reinforcements into the game for the Purple Eagles as well. Strong will check out of the game. Alia Dial and Jemima LaCroix in. Dial down to the lane for Williams. Couldn't get it, and Verajel, taller than the bunch. There's the top freshman recruiting Shy Hawkins, and the LSU transfer Velez. Whistle goes on LaCroix.
Hawkins had some really good defense on the Niagara drive last possession. Had a really strong defensive performance in the exhibition game against Damon as well. Pulls a lot of eyes because of her offensive ability, her slashing ability from the wing, but she gets it done on both ends of the court.
Couple of freshmen into the game. Here's Hawkins. Burrows takes it herself and can't bank it in. There's the other freshman, Scott, the O-board. Couldn't get the stick back. 3rd chance and 1. Isabel Verajel.
Wasn't pretty. Syracuse needed 2 offensive rebounds on the possession. But when you got the height advantage, just keep putting it up. Eventually it'll fall. That's what worked for Verajel.
Immediately after Amelia Strong hits the bench, Verajel and Scott get some big O-boards. Verajel just a 46% free throw shooter last year, and she misses her first. Comes out to defend and blocks it away from Williams. Velez ahead for Hawkins, off the fingertips.
And so this is what Niagara can do so well on the defensive end. It's not always a steal, it's a forced turnover. Syracuse is playing risky, trying to pass over the top over and over again, and probably at just a 50% hit rate on those full court passes.
LaCroix, dribble handoff, and Dickerson got caught moving the feet. Might have been halfway between the 3 ball or the dribble drive.
I call that happy feet, when a player catches the ball, then does a little jump to reset before. Have you ever seen that movie, Andrew?
No. I do know it probably doesn't make head coach Jada Pierce too happy. Spin around, fade away. Come on now. Kyra Scott. Dickerson for the answer. No. And Hawkins elevates. Velez to Verajel, backing down the lane. Gets the double team. She is hounded. Suffocating D from Niagara. Verajel for Burrows. Scott the stick back. just a freshman, Kyra Scott, the Falls Church, Virginia native.
On that last possession, you could hear Isabel Verjao screaming, "Go!" to one of her teammates, trying to direct traffic. Niagara's defense is so stifling that it makes the opponents angry. It makes them have to communicate a lot better, and it can break down when you're trying to do something and the defense just won't let you do it.
And that's one forward making another former forward happy on the bench. Felicia Leggett-Jack, the former three-time All-Big East forward, fired up with Verjao's play. Pelez nearly took it away, up and under from Barnes, couldn't finish. Rebound and the stick back for Kalibo. That ends a 9-0 Syracuse run. Scott again swipes through and scores. Silky smooth Kyra Scott.
Until the Purple Eagles get a stop in the paint, the Orange have no reason to not keep going there and stop the perfect player to post up.
Kalibo down the lane, forces the issue and forces the foul.
So the last Niagara basket, and look at Barnes fighting for that rebound. It took so much attention away. That left Kalibo open for the bucket.
And then there's the double team and the slip through. Kyra Scott is just showing off. First free throw is no good from Kalibo. Shot at just a tick under 70% last year at Georgian Court. Feels like the Orange have started to find an answer for this press. As I say that, Hawkins dribbles it off her foot in the front court.
Love a good broadcaster's chance.
Triple try, banks it home. Oh my goodness, Talia Dial.
Is the bank open on election day usually, Andrew?
It seems to be up in front of the pack. Scott all alone.
Scott already at 8 points. Half of what she had 16 against Damon earlier in the week.
And the bank is open on the floater for Kalibo. If you like scoring, this one's for you. Hawkins races through. Way too strong. Scott again tries to stick back. Through the contact, it was blocked. Here comes Rutledge. Euro step. Too short. Barnes up and under. No. Strong. How about a third try? No good. And we finally have a tie-up to stop play. No slowing these two teams down, Tyler.
Niagara is really controlling how this game is moving. Syracuse, yes, has the advantage on the scoreboard, but the pace of play, how fast it is going, that's how the Purple Eagles like it. Now it's high risk, high reward. And Niagara has lost because it's been going so fast at times. But at the very least, the Purple Eagles are controlling the pace. And that's what causes turnovers.
A little too quick for its own good, as Wood couldn't haul in the pass from Velez. If you look at the stats last season for a Purple Eagles team that finished second in the MAAC, they finished second in the conference in scoring, but they also finished last in points allowed. So they scored a bunch and gave up a bunch.
Makes for some very, very exciting basketball games to watch though.
Wood boards the missed three from Kalibo. Scott the double, gets it away. Woolley steps into a three. Back iron. Jump ball this time favors the Purple Eagles. We've had our fair share of jump balls for the whole game in the first quarter.
Absolutely. Glad Woolley took that shot, though. That was just her third shot of the game and first three-point attempt. She hasn't been all that assertive on offense, and that was the expectation coming into the year, the leading returning scorer on the squad.
Just a couple possessions left in this first quarter. Syracuse turns over Kolibo. Orange can hold for the last shot if Deuce chooses. Journey Thompson, the Arizona State transfer, into the game for the first time. Here is Velez. What can the LSU transfer engineer? Engineers an inbound for the Cuse underneath the basket with 3 seconds.
The Orange will take the extra break. A lot of substitutions from the Orange. Already 9 different players have touched the court. That's what you need to do when you're not used to running this fast up and down the court over and over and over.
Cuse is without Sanaya Wilson down low tonight, but head coach Felicia Leggett-Jack said she's happy to go 10-11 deep. Hawkins for Camp and a turnover to end the first. Pretty fitting.
Danielle, a 4-time all-conference player for the Blue Hens, by the way.
Syracuse forces the issue down low again. Out of the stoppage, it's Kyra Wood.
Wood, another player with the connection to Niagara. Her mom works at the university, actually.
Strong, all chords.
Looks like Syracuse trying to wait and get into some sets. Woolley had Verjao open inside, chose not to pass it in.
There is Verjao. She spins away from traffic and scores. Orange are flexing their size down low right on Niagara. Strong crashes through the back of Kyra Wood. That's the first personal foul on Amelia Strong.
So Verjao with a spin cycle, nice inside, stayed with the off-ball motion after she didn't get the ball from Woolley, ended up getting paid off with the pass from Camp instead.
Put him in the washer down low. Burrows tries to break the press and sets up Woolley. Bottoms.
Finally starting to put up the ball a little bit more. Expect that to go up and up throughout the game.
Amelia Strong flexes her range from the free throw line. Burrows muscles through the press from Niagara. Forces another foul. This time it goes on Jade Rutledge. It's quite the experience to face the Niagara press on opening night, Tyler.
It is, but Syracuse is starting to figure it out. Wait for the double team. Invite the double team, because that means someone's open. Burrows did a great job of accepting the pressure and passing out of it.
Verjao, not shy from deep, passes up that three-pointer and earns an inbound underneath the hoop. Last season, Isabel Verjao only played in 17 games, but she is happy to shoot it from deep, shot at 25%. Orange call her number, but she can't handle it. Another turnover.
Woolley with a foul right after. Jumped up and down, seemed to take pressure off her right foot for a second, but walks away okay for now. A little bit gingerly, though. Syracuse in a 2-3 zone. Mixing it up on defense.
First time we've seen the zone from Felicia Leggett-Jack and company. It forces a turnover out of the hand of Kolibo. Syracuse fast in transition with Woolley the reverse. No. Now Niagara, 3-on-1. Williams right down the lane. Charge! Camp, the lone defender, gets it back for Syracuse.
And that is confidence from a player that's playing for the first time in over a year. By the way, coming off a torn ACL, it can be scary to put your body on the line after an injury like that. Camp unafraid.
Nifty handles from Camp. And pops into the game for the first time. Another Australian. Gets it back from Burrows. And a 3-second violation. Here's against Kyra Wood.
It's tempting to just stay in the paint all day long when you have the height advantage that Kyra Wood has over pretty much every Purple Eagles defender today. And that's the trap you can fall into, 3 seconds.
Now maybe a little bit of a 1-3-1 into a 2-3 for Syracuse.
The weak side wing player really cheating up quite a bit. Helped cause a steal on the last possession.
And boy, it has Niagara out of sorts on the last 2 possessions. An air ball. Potts down low, what a pass, Wood all alone. Another timeout, Niagara. Cuse is just dominating in the paint.
The height advantage for Syracuse working well. Up to a 12-point lead, and it's all done down low for the Orange.
And Maddie Potts, not quite a new face either, because you would have seen her on the bench in the back half of last year. An early enrollee came in January for the Orange. Didn't play, but she was around the team, which is valuable experience for any player.
Had a really nice assist right before the break as well. Showed off how much chemistry she has already built up with this Syracuse team. Been practicing with them for over 6 months already.
Strong turns it over. Camp bounces it ahead for Woolley. Nearly rolled it up there. And Woolley up through traffic, couldn't get it to go. Triple try for Barnes, way off. Put back though is good for Jordan Williams. Freshman out of Buffalo, part of a long lineage of Cardinal O'Hara recruits for this Niagara team.
4 different players from that high school on the roster.
Coach Pierce loves to recruit from Cardinal O'Hara, just down the road, halfway between Niagara and Buffalo. Their head coach, Daryl O'Neill, also runs a press, so it really fits the style of the Purple Eagles. Barajau muscles it up there and gets the friendly roll. Stepping into a 3. Porter can't hit.
And that's what Niagara has to do against this zone for Syracuse. Have really struggled to penetrate inside. And that means just put up 3s, and the Purple Eagles haven't been that successful from there so far.
Barajau, the ball movement. Over to Camp, steps back for 3. Oh yeah! Dom Camp is on the scoreboard in a Syracuse jersey. Barajau can't quite draw the charge on the other end.
How about the confidence with Barajau wide open inside? Nope, I want to step back. Drains it.
First points as a member of Syracuse in regular season action. We mentioned spent all of last year rehabbing an injury after she suffered a season-ending injury in the exhibition after transferring in for the Orange. Blocked out of bounds by Scott, stays with Niagara.
Good active hands from Scott on the defensive end. her and Hawkins have really, really impressed me with their defensive ability. Freshmen sometimes just don't exactly know what to do inside at the college level. Both of them know exactly what they're doing.
Burrows outlets for Camp. She can't haul it in. Now Niagara in transition. Porter trapped. Outlets all the way to the far side. Barnes can't even get it to the bucket. Another outlet pass, nearly intercepted. It is taken away. Last touch by Potts.
And here you got 4 different players coming in for Niagara. Running very fast, forcing turnovers on back-to-back Syracuse possessions. But you get really tired running up and down the court. Coach Pierce very comfortable making all those subs though. Recruits to have the depth to afford to do that.
Another turnover from Niagara now. Answer Syracuse. Reminder on Sunday, game 2 for the Orange against St. Joe's. St. Joe's actually a former spot for Coach Pierce of the Purple Eagles. Spent 3 years as an assistant there. Woolley for Potts. Can't finish. Active hands down low again by Scott. Denying the inbound down there for Niagara.
Speaking of depth, by the way, Syracuse, like you mentioned earlier, Andrew, comfortable running 10 or 11 players today. Olivia Schmidt, the freshman point guard, making her first appearance of the day.
Checks in with Shy Hawkins. Got all 3 freshmen out there on the floor together. Schmidt, Hawkins, and Scott. Another takeaway. Burrows gets stalled up. Gets it to Scott. Can't quite hook it home. Burrows chases it down. Schmidt for Scott, a floater. Can't quite get the roll, but she is fouled. That's a connection that is quite familiar. Kyra Scott along with Olivia Schmidt. Those two played together at DME Academy.
How about that? A steal to yourself, and Burrows is all over the court on this play. Had it at first, had it taken away, gets it back, goes after the rebound. Then he sets up Schmidt, her high school teammate, who feeds another freshman in Kyra Scott.
Scott knew that one wasn't going in. She was actually committed to Syracuse before she transferred to DME Academy. Wanted to go play prep. Alicia Leggett-Jack recommended it because that's where Olivia Schmidt was playing, and Schmidt was soon to be one of Syracuse's point guards. So the two got to play together before they suited up in the script Syracuse. Corner 3 on the way from Otis. Splashdown.
That was an example of good defense, but better offense. Scott did a great job of coming over at the bottom of the 1-3-1. Active hands in the face. Just a really darn good three-point shot.
Scott is fouled again on the baseline. That's the second personal going against the 6'2" Amelia Strong. The biggest presence in the paint for the Purple Eagles.
Coach Pierce doesn't look like she'll sub anyone in for her. Can't really afford to take Strong out.
Double digits in the first half for Kyra Scott. 5 boards from a double-double in her debut. Otis double teamed, can't keep it. Velez finds Schmidt. Drives to the hoop, sets up Velez, and she is fouled.
Point guard to point guard, but they can play together at the same time. Having 2 point guards on the court certainly helps you break the press. But how about the extra pass from Schmidt? There's a reason Coach Jack calls her a cerebral, high IQ player.
And you saw Burrows and Hawkins just hanging out down on the block. No secret, that's where Syracuse wants to get to, is in the paint. Velez off the mark on the first free throw. Syracuse 3 of 7 as a team from the stripe right.
And free throws at times really hurt the Orange last year. 73%, not terrible. It was middle of the pack in the ACC. But in a lot of close games, Syracuse was headed to the line a whole lot. You want to be one of the best in the biz if you're going to be there that often.
Les nearly took it away. Dickerson gets it back. She drives to the rack and leaves it short. Look at Syracuse run. Every possession now. Velez either stepped out of bounds or moved her feet.
I believe it was those happy feet again.
Yeah, back to the happy feet. Is that one of your favorites or something?
I don't know if I've seen that movie in over a decade.
Happy to see a top 5 team in the Salt City for some volleyball on Friday. Number 4 Louisville comes to town. What a year the ACC has had in volleyball. Pittsburgh, Louisville, those 2 teams dominating right now. In the paint is not the place to be if you're Niagara. Syracuse is just too tall. Hawkins on the run out. Syracuse the board. Hawkins can't get to that pass, and now Otis all alone. She finishes. True freshman Nevaeh Otis out in front of the pack. Comes by way of Pontiac, Michigan, and prepped at Renaissance High School. Schmidt takes it to the hoop. Both teams are giving the freshmen plenty of run in this one, Tyler.
And if you thought that press defense, that trap defense was just something you'd see for the first 5 minutes, you'd be wrong. Coach Pierce will not take that off the entire game.
We expect a full 40 from the Purple Eagles covering the full court.
To be honest, I'm tired watching.
Why?
I'm exhausted. They're just moving so quick, it's hard to keep up with, Andrew.
You're just sitting in your chair over here. Schmidt capitalizes on her trip to the line. That's where Syracuse has been living the last couple minutes. No field goals in the last 4 for the Orange. Still up by 15. That rattles home from Kaliba. So Niagara is keeping somewhat in touch here as we head down the home stretch of the first half. What a dish. Olivia Schmidt, eyes in the back of the head to find Shy Hawkins. Hawkins gets the board. Yeah, give it back to Schmidt after that dish. How about another one? Trying to set up Burrows, who couldn't quite haul it in. Too much contact sends Hawkins to the floor. But if Sophie Burrows corralled that pass, she was taking that 3 opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's been no-look pass after no-look pass from Schmidt. Sometimes freshmen come in and they're afraid to be that flashy, and Schmidt does not have those fears.
Shy Hawkins goes to the line. Syracuse in the bonus now. 5 team fouls in this second quarter. No 1-and-1 on the women's side, just 2 shots. All nylon from Hawkins. That looks smooth. Stick with us here at the halftime break. We'll bring you back here courtside in the Dome. We'll talk about the 2 conference previews, ACC and the MAAC. What a first 2 days it's been to open up the season as well. We've got all your scores from around the country from yesterday, and even abroad, a couple teams going at it in Paris. A couple of ranked matchups to start the season across the pond. I'll tell you about those and a whole lot more. Get to the highlights from this first 20 as well. Hawkins can't handle it. Niagara's not going to slow down either. Barnes can't get the pass. Kalibo recorrals. In for Strong and in. Cuts it back to a 15-point lead, and Schmidt lost it out of bounds. Syracuse could have had the last shot, and a turnover gives Niagara that chance.
You know, you'd think with 2 point guards on the floor at the same time, it would be a little bit of a cleaner few minutes for Syracuse, but that has not been the case. Up to 17 turnovers on the day.
Well, Niagara is without its first team All-MAAC selection, Aaliyah Parker, and they're hanging tough with the Orange. Trying for one last shot. Williams got a chance at the buzzer on the rebound, but couldn't finish. Orange nearly hit 50 points offensively, and this is a track meet inside the Dome. Syracuse up by 15 at the break, and neither team is going to slow down out of the locker room either. Orange up in the season opener. We'll break down that first half and more after this.
But it gets them ready for MAAC play when they'll have to play a very, very good Fairfield team.
Fairfield, the preseason pick. We talked about at halftime how the Stags returned 4 of 5 starters from a 1-loss regular season last year, and quite a win on opening night last night in Fayetteville.
There's the mid-range jumper from Strong I was telling you about. Can do it more than just inside the paint.
And then a 5-second violation. The press is back. It's wreaking havoc. Alicia Leggett-Jack's group turns it over. Niagara a chance to get the momentum out of the locker room.
Well, you give this defense, this press defense, time to rest and recover at the half. They're going to come out even stronger in the second.
Strong flexing the handles, but she can't get past Verajak. How about a 3? Back iron, no good from Porter. Long rebound for Dickerson. Kalibo tries and hits from distance. Just a 10-point lead a minute into the second half.
And that spells trouble inbounding to a center.
Kalibo, a little too much contact. Sends Camp to the floor, or else it was another turnover coming for the Orange.
Well, she did absolutely the right thing. Give the ball to Wood, who shouldn't be handling it in the backcourt against the press. Might as well try to force a turnover there.
Couple of Niagara Purple Eagles are in foul trouble. LaCroix and Rutledge with 3, but that is just the first personal on Safiatou Kalibo. Now Lori Porter joins the 3 foul club. So 3 Purple Eagles with 3 personals right now.
That's part of the risk of running a trap zone like this.
It also leads to open looks. Ole passes up the 3, gets it to Wood, and she muscles it off the glass.
Syracuse trying to get the press too.
Well, you can bet that the Purple Eagles practice against it every practice. Shouldn't be too tough to handle for Niagara's group. Kalibo again. Oh, yeah. Double-digit scoring tonight for Safiato Kalibo. We mentioned Purple Eagles without their best scorer that has returned to the roster, Aaliyah Parker, today with an injury. And so in the exhibition, there were 6 double-digit scores for Niagara. None of them made it more than 12 points. So a very balanced offensive approach without Parker.
It's always balanced. Their coach, Jada Pierce, says it has to be balanced. You look at last year's team, 5 different players in the 8 to 12 points per game range. That's just what they do. They spread out the scoring.
And if you've been impressed with this Purple Eagles group tonight, should get even better when Parker's back to healthy. Another bucket for Kyra Wood down low. On another 3 attempt near side. It's no good off the mark from Porter. 1 and done for the Purple Eagles. Woolley gets it over the top for Wood. Hold it in on the jump ball, and she sticks it off the square.
Woolley really seems to be prioritizing making the extra pass today. He's given up a few open shots early in this third quarter.
Tried to sell the offensive foul. Instead, it's an and 1.
Well, how about the size advantage for Kyra Wood? That's too easy for her inside. Like you said, Andrew, Woolley tries to sell the offensive foul, and the Purple Eagles can do it in the paint too. My goodness.
And 1 for Dickerson. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania native. And they tag Niagara with a lane violation. So the free throw does not count. You don't get the old-fashioned 3. And it sticks at a 12-point Orange advantage. Verajao will check out with her 3 personals as she just picked up Syracuse's first foul of the quarter. Burrows races it ahead for Camp. She'll pop and hit. Couple of 3s tonight for Dominique Camp. Porter stepped on the sideline, turns it back to Syracuse. When you break that press, you get open looks, Tyler.
You do, and Camp's been absolutely unafraid in her first ever regular season game for Syracuse. She's been a 10-point per game scorer at pretty much every single school she's been at. Back at Sinclair Community College, she was a 20-point per game scorer. So she's used to having to put up points. She could be big help for Syracuse without Deasia Fair this year.
Schmidt turns it over, Dickerson capitalizes. You need a full hand to count the number of schools that Dominic Camp has spent a season at. Run you through the list. Sinclair JUCO, Troy, Buffalo with Coach Leggett Jack, and Akron. And now she's technically in her 2nd season here at Syracuse, but off the injury, didn't play last year. Grad student that's been around the world and back.
And even though she was out last year with an injury, stayed very involved with the team, actually used an NIL deal to get slide flip-flops for every single teammate of hers last December, right before she had her surgery. She's such a team player. That's why Coach Leggett Jack has brought her in as a transfer at 2 different schools.
Camp actually wanted to come with Leggett Jack when she made the move to Syracuse. Didn't have enough scholarship spots here. So she went 1 year over at Akron. Coaching change there. She stayed in touch with FLJ, and she comes to Syracuse. Schmidt tries to get it ahead. Scott was open. Instead, another turnover by the freshman. And again, it is Dickerson who turns it into points. Orange can't quite put Niagara out of reach. Camp steps in for a long two. Oh my goodness, it's silky smooth right now from Dominique Camp. Forces a timeout. Dom Camp is on fire. First usually, Tyler. She's been mighty efficient shooting it tonight.
Pass first still tonight. 5 assists on the day, but picking her spots well. Has hit every single shot she has taken. She's not being aggressive with the basketball. She's being assertive. Taking the right shots, taking the ones she knows she can hit.
Did not play in the exhibition, but she's been at full speed for over a month now off the injury. And Camp showing her veteran experience tonight for Syracuse. Hasn't missed a shot yet. Nice little floater down the lane comes from Lakia Barnes. Lead's been hovering right between 10 and 15 out of the locker room for Syracuse. Down low, there's Scott. Reemerges after a dominant first half.
A heck of a pass from Wood as well. Not really known as that passing big, but she certainly flashes the ability on occasion.
Barnes fights it through the contact to get to the stripe. Timeout before the freshman Barnes goes to the free throw line. So we'll take it with them. Orange by 15.
In Western New York, probably watched a ton of Purple Eagles basketball growing up. Now gets to play against them.
Jada Pierce, coach of Niagara, said she watched plenty of Kyra Wood growing up as well in the area. Two for two trip for Barnes at the stripe. Freshman from Chicago, prepped at Phillips High School. Velez, 3-on-1, but she might have turned it over. Scott tries to save it. Burrows there. Velez on the broken play. Couldn't hit the bunny.
Well, you could see her take a sigh after that play because there was so much effort put in by so many different Syracuse players. How about Kira Scott saving the ball? Then a nice extra pass from Burrows. And so Velez really wanted that one to go in. Instead, she's just rewarded with a couple of free throws.
Yeah, she manages her way to the line, despite missing it from close range. Get the personal foul on Jade Rutledge. That's her fourth. So the Buffalo junior is in some foul trouble for Niagara. Purple Eagles have someone at the scores table. So Rutledge will check out. Amelia Strong comes into the game. Barnes pulls up on the legs. Off left iron. Woolley tripped up from behind. That's a whistle going against Kaliba.
Just a little bit too handsy there. But like we've said time and time again, Coach Pierce totally okay with any foul trouble her team gets into. It's just a part of running a press that you run all 40 minutes of the game.
Has put Syracuse into the bonus with still 4:30 left in this third quarter. So 2 shots for Georgia Woolley. All nylon on the first. Couple of players staring down a possible foul out for Niagara. 4 fouls on Rutledge, the most of any in the game. Taco time in the dome. Hughes has hit the 65-point mark. Now a foul on Wood down low. Sends Barnes back to the line.
Looks like Wood just smacked the shoulder of Barnes. Was going for the ball, got all shoulder instead.
First on the Buffalo native. Barnes regarded as a pass-first guard by her head coach, but the freshman is getting to the free throw line as of late.
Free throw is something that the Purple Eagles are really hoping to improve in this year. Second to last in the conference last season, under 70%.
So far, so good in that category tonight. 5 of 6 at the stripe for the Purple Eagles. Orange have just gotten there much more, but that'll even out the numbers a little bit more. Another trip to the charity stripe, this time coming for Dickerson. Niagara's just 1 foul on Syracuse away from being in the bonus 2.
We'll give the Purple Eagles a lot of practice in a spot where they really need to improve this year. Anything you can do to give yourself a leg up over that preseason favorite in the MAAC.
Yeah, Fairfield will be a tough competition in the MAAC. And it's razor-thin margins. We talked about how that championship game came into overtime last season, and that's what separated Niagara from its first ever March Madness berth. Dickerson races it up. Sets up a 3 attempt for Barnes. Off the mark. High rebound down for Niagara. And the stick back finds the bottom of the net from LaCroix. And now an offensive foul on the press gives it right back to Niagara, just down 11. Far from over inside the dome.
Plenty of frustration from Syracuse against this press. Even though the Orange have been fairly successful at times, it's just annoying. You're used to getting to walk up the court for free. It's like a mosquito. You just got to swat away the defenders. And Syracuse swatted a little bit too literally that time.
LaCroix, who hails from Montreal, Quebec. Now for Strong. Back to LaCroix. 18-footer is way long. That missed everything. Burrows is trapped off the miss, and she steps through to draw the foul. Could have been another turnover for Syracuse, but instead, it's free throws on the other end.
Syracuse at 22 turnovers so far. Averaged about 15 last year. That was middle of the pack in the ACC. It's hard to consider what's a good number of turnovers against Niagara. They run a press, they force a heck of a lot of turnovers. I mean, 22 is not 65, which Niagara forced in its exhibition game last week.
Yeah, so if you average the 2 right now, I think they'd have them in the 40s. High 40s, if my math is correct. That's a daunting number to stare at. It's the scouting report going forward against the Purple Eagles. Has been for years. Another 3 falls. This time it's Dial. Second triple of the game. Single-digit lead for Cuse. Woolley fighting through traffic. Gets it across midcourt. Barnes is all up in her grill. Woolley swings it for Burrows. Too strong. Gets her own miss. Burrows to the rim. Leaves it short. Rebound tapped around. Burrows has another shot. Another three for Burrows. Short again. Wood the stick back. No. Send her to the line. Offensive board after offensive board.
And you'd honestly expect Syracuse to have more of those this game. Just 9 with the height advantage. You'd want more than that. And when you do get those offensive boards, you'd want to convert. And Syracuse could just not do that on this possession.
Orange are doubling up the Purple Eagles on the glass tonight. Kyra Wood has not led that charge, but she certainly led the scoring. 65% free throw shooter last year. Oh for 2 trip. Keeps it at a 9-point lead. Woolley forces the travel. Stood her ground. Dickerson shuffled the feet. What do you call those, Tyler?
Happy feet every time.
Might have stolen it off the inbound, just couldn't quite keep it in. But boy, Dickerson almost got it back.
By the way, Andrew, I think we're due to watch that movie together after this.
All right.
Make some popcorn. I think you make a good a queso recipe, right? Throw that together.
Might have better things to do on my Tuesday night, but sometime soon. Camp holds it up for Woolley, takes it to the rim, scores it, and one. Georgia Woolley ends a no field goal drought for Syracuse. Much needed bucket.
And some much needed assertiveness from her on offense. She's played passive, pass first, getting to the rack. Needs to be doing a lot more of that, especially with how much Niagara is staying in this game.
She's crested the double-digit hill as well with that free throw. Burrows hounding Dial, forces the issue, and forces a jump ball. Verajao ties up Porter. Couple of players slow to their feet, but everybody seems to be okay out of that last tangle. Woolley turns it over, straight into the hands of Dickerson. Shuffles it out for Dial from distance. Boom! Right back to a 9-point game. Burrows and Woolley, does she respond? In and out. Burrows battles down low, shuffles it up. No, Wood, no. Verajao. Wood, oh my goodness. Had to get an easy one, and Verajao set it up. Timeout, Coach Jack in Syracuse. That's the best pass of the night.
No look. We saw that earlier from Olivia Schmidt, but she's a point guard. Verajao, a center. Showing the vision here.
I mean, come on.
Wow.
Can't do it better than that.
I mean, she was wide open, easy to find her. But over the head, that was pretty.
It's good recognition as well with the double team coming. Somebody's got to be open. And Verajao finds the open player. Native of Brazil, spent a couple seasons at Michigan. Almost stopped playing basketball, but came back to Syracuse. Missed a good chunk of last season. Verajao only played in 17 games, was injured for a good portion of the regular season, and decided on one last year as a grad student here at Syracuse.
And you can't give it up. It's in her blood. The niece of Anderson Varejao, NBA player for over a decade on the Cavaliers, the Warriors.
Syracuse back in the zone. Down to 5 to shoot. Orange come away with the board. Camp is trapped. And Woolley relieves the pressure. It has not been an easy night for the guards of Syracuse. It's not going to be an easy night for any guards that have to play against Niagara the rest of the year. Camp gets the foul called. That's the third on Strong. Two free throws for Camp. Orange last season, top 5 in the ACC, averaged 74 points a game. They're nearing that mark in the third quarter. Camp still hasn't missed a shot tonight. 3 for 3 from the floor, 2 for 2 from deep, 2 for 2 from the line.
Part of a pretty well-rounded offense for Syracuse. 4 players in double figures, including Camp.
Both teams have been pretty well-rounded in the scoring department tonight. Williams has it tipped by Varejao. Foul goes against Niagara on the rebound for Wood. Tag that one to Jemima LaCroix, I believe. That's her 4th.
Came down a little funky. He's walking gingerly now, but turns into a jog. She seems okay. Syracuse should certainly hope so. 17 points leads the Orange today. Last year, the Orange were led by point guard Deasia Fair in the scoring department. But early in this year, it seems like maybe Kyra Wood could be the focal point of the offense.
The Orange have good depth down low. There's no doubt about that. 2 players that Niagara head coach Jada Pierce highlighted after watching the film from the exhibition against Damon. One was Wood. Missed it too strong on the first. The other was the freshman Kyra Scott, and both have been difference makers in the paint. Actually, the 2 leading scorers tonight against the Purple Eagles. Good scouting, if you ask me.
Is it good scouting or is it bad scouting? Because she knew they were threats and then didn't stop them.
Well, watch the film, I'll tell you that much. Knew they were threats, and they have been threats. Another 0 for trip at the line, by the way. Orange are shooting at 60%. They've had 25 free throws tonight. 5 seconds to work with for Niagara. Dial right before the horn. Can't get it to go. Stick back, falls with .2. LaCroix's working on 4 fouls, and she might have just given Niagara a real lifeline at the end of the third quarter.
Well, Dial went for a 3. Instead, it'll be a chance at an old school 3-point play. It could be just a 10-point game headed into the final quarter.
It is 10. And we've got 10 minutes to decide a winner on opening night for these 2 teams. Niagara's cut into the Syracuse lead. It was 15 at the break. It is 10 with 10 to go. Orange, Purple Eagles doing battle down low. We'll find a winner after this. Speaking of turnovers, couple there, back and forth, and it leads to an open look. LaCroix finishes. 8 points the lead. This is the closest Niagara's been since the first half.
And Syracuse is going to continue to get more and more tired throughout the game, and all of a sudden, that press is going to be harder and harder to break. Could see more forced errors and unforced errors from the Orange.
Offense for the Purple Eagles caught fire in that third quarter. Verajao bounces it down low. Hawkins off through 2.
Hawkins had been quiet for a minute. Only 10 minutes out of her today. Not playing in that primary rotation, but getting back in the fourth quarter, making an impact.
Spin around. Oh. Burrows takes the contact. LaCroix through the back.
Verajao had a no-look pass last quarter. Looked this time, but it's 2 points nonetheless for Syracuse.
Latest foul as well sends LaCroix packing. Jemima LaCroix fouls out with just under 9 minutes to play here in the fourth. Other foul, that time on Dial. LaCroix had that big and one at the end of the third, got 2 more to start the fourth. She was starting to spark that offense, but she has to take a seat for the rest of this one. Woolley off the inbound. Offensive rebound. Verajao the hook. She'll get 2 shots. That is the 4th personal foul on Dickerson.
All the fouls piling up for the Purple Eagles. 4 for Rutledge, 4 for Dickerson, 3 for Kalibo, 3 for Strong, 3 for Porter. Niagara might have its comeback attempt cut short, not because of anything it's doing on the court, but because of who has to go off the court. It's the risk you take when you run this press, like Coach Pierce.
I think if you told Coach Pierce, even with the foul trouble, down 10 going to the fourth against Syracuse, she'd probably be pretty happy with that without their returning leading scorer, Aaliyah Parker, tonight. Verajao walls off Strong. Don't go in there. Verajao leaks the outlet ahead. Camp swings at Woolley. One more, Burrows. Now Woolley will step back for 3 and hit. Momentum back with the Orange, courtesy of Georgia Woolley. Tyler?
Happy feet. Woolley really didn't want to take this 3. She passed up an open look earlier, but then decides to go for the harder look, to step back. Nails her second triple of the day.
Thought Burrows would take the 3 off the feed from Woolley. Gave it right back to the fellow Aussie. 7-0 Cuse run. Hawkins pulls up. Good pass down low. Barnes sets up Rutledge. That ends the Syracuse scoring streak. 9-0 run, halted. And now Dial forces the contact from Woolley. Left all alone on an island to try and break that press.
A frustration foul. No need to immediately foul after you lose the ball. She let out an "oh, come on" right afterwards, but then took accountability, raised her hand, looked at Coach Jack and said, "That's on me."
You do look, though, all 4 of her teammates running down the floor, backs to the basketball. Barnes will shoot the three. Put back from Strong.
How about Niagara? Less offensive rebounds than Syracuse, but more second chance points, up to 15 on the day.
Feels like the Orange have missed so many of those putbacks. It's taken third and fourth and fifth chances. Woolley from distance again. Oh yeah! Third trifecta of the night. Georgia Woolley's heating up.
Coach Leggett-Jack smiled and nodded after that one. She knows this is the Georgia Woolley she's expected to see this season.
Trying to take over down the stretch. What used to be Deasia time is turning into Georgia time. Hawkins, coast to coast, and a timeout, the last one for Niagara. Purple Eagles putting a scare into the Orange, and Syracuse is responding down the stretch. From one leader in Deasia Fair to the next in Georgia Woolley. Those three played 3 seasons together, and all three were 1 and 2, Fair and Woolley, in scoring for their teams. 1 at Buffalo and 2 here at Syracuse. Oh my goodness. Tomahawk block from Verajak.
But Deasia Fair, that's quite the name, quite the legacy to live up to. One of the top scorers in women's college basketball history.
Third all time. That's pretty high company to be held with.
That's a heavy torch to hold for Woolley.
Camp can't quite locate Hawkins on the curl. Foul goes against Syracuse's Kyra Scott. Just the first on the freshman. Although Niagara's dealing with foul trouble up and down the bench, Felicia Leggett-Jack not much to worry about in that category. Foul goes on Verajak. That puts Verajak to 4 fouls. So the only one with 4 on the Orange. Now the one player that Felicia Leggett-Jack has to worry about. Barnes is back to a familiar spot for Niagara. Can't hit on the first. She was 4 for 4 from the stripe.
And it hasn't been her day away from the stripe. 1 for 10 from the field. Making up for all those misses at the line.
Verajak will take a seat with the 4 personals. Kyra Wood back in for the Cuse. Barnes is all up in the face of Camp, and that one's an offensive foul. I believe they just issued possibly a technical. Was that on the reaction?
Believe so.
So the foul was going against Camp on the rock through with the basketball, and then Barnes, celebrating, gets the technical. Woolley will shoot him.
Well, those two had been chippy before that. Before the foul even occurred, before the ball was inbounded, Camp gave a little shove off of Barnes. They exchanged words. And then, obviously, once Camp got the ball, even more chirping.
Must have said something. Put trigger on the tee. Costly play for Niagara. Gets Syracuse back up 19 and gives them the ball. Velez back into the game. Just rides down the lane and forces another foul on Barnes. 2 and 20 seconds puts Barnes up to 3 personals.
Very quiet second half for Velez. Played most of her 12 minutes today back in the first half. And the stat sheet doesn't really say much. 2 points, up to 3 now, 1 rebound, 1 assist.
All 3. And now 4 points have come from the free throw line for Velez. Took a seat after a couple turnovers. Floater, teardrop falls from Barnes.
But Velez, a player that didn't play too much as a freshman at LSU. It's going to take her a few games to work her way up and get used to playing in a more spotlight role for Syracuse.
Woolley and Scott combo for 2 more. Dickerson shuffles down the lane, left it off the right side. Scott has it poked away, trying to break the press. Wood keeps it. 4 on 2. Step back floater. Hawkins the board. Another foul on Barnes. She's gone from 1 to 4 in a minute. She'll check out. 3 in and 3 out for Niagara, and Barnes will head to the bench with 4 personals. Only 2 players available for Niagara that have played tonight that don't have 3 or more fouls. Just the style that the Purple Eagles play.
They've thrown a ton of press at Syracuse today, obviously. We've said it over and over again.
They played a matchup zone for the first 3 years with Coach Pierce at the helm, but they've moved to the press for the last 7. Hard to stop with the results that Niagara's seen over the last 2 years, but you gotta stay a little better at getting out of foul trouble.
And so, Andrew, one long-term impact of this game, potentially, Syracuse is putting in 40 minutes of film to every coach it plays against this year. This is how we break the press. And so in any close games, any comeback attempts where Syracuse is facing a press this year, opposing coaches are going to have a pretty good idea of how the Orange tried to break a press and how they've struggled against the press. 28 turnovers today.
That's one way to break the press there, though. Velez ahead for Hawkins. Cuse is knocking on the door of the century mark on opening night. Did so last year with 101 against Central Connecticut. 3 is blocked. Wood, did that go off a Niagara foot? No, they'll say last off Kyra Wood. To be honest with you, Tyler, I'd be surprised if the Orange saw another game like this where you got 40 minutes of full press.
You're not going to see a full game, absolutely not. But it's 40 minutes of film. And if Syracuse has a lead and gets pressed against in a close game this year, that's where maybe this film will come back to bite them. That's another way to press.
Scott with the crossover, sets up Wood. She'll go again, and it falls. Dickerson up and in, plus the foul. No stop in either offense tonight. You like points and turnovers and pace. This one's been for you.
66 made baskets, 127 field goal attempts. Just so many shots being chucked up by both squads.
Tack on one more from Dickerson from the line. Hawkins full steam ahead for Potts, for Scott. Oh no. That would have been beautiful 1-2-3 passing. Scott couldn't quite pay it off. It'll take one more fall in to get to 100. Pretty ugly turnover from Velez on the inbound.
She's up to 5 on the day.
Long 2 from Williams off the mark. Offensive board, Dickerson. More free throws coming. We talked about the schedules for both of these teams. The non-conference is where it is really hard for this Niagara team. Last year they scheduled tough, played a holiday tournament, played UCLA, played LSU. Those are 2 of the best in the country. Again, it's that way. 4 straight on the road against Power 4 opponents to start this season. For Syracuse, once you get to conference play, that's when you find the meat of the schedule for Coach Jack.
But you do still have a game against Maryland, a home game against Maryland that Syracuse lost to by 1 possession on the road last year. That'll be a good early test for the Orange, see how good they really are.
Yeah, it should be a fun rematch because that was the first game back for Georgia Woolley last year. And the Orange gave the Terps everything they could handle and more down in Maryland. So we'll see with the ranked Maryland Terrapins coming up to the Dome, one of the first good tests for this Syracuse team. And it should put to test a Syracuse home non-conference streak where they've been undefeated in the Dome dating back to before COVID.
And speaking about that Maryland game last year for a second, Syracuse was down by 2 points and had a chance to put up a shot at the end of the game. Elena Rice, one of Syracuse's leading scorers last year, ended up never getting a shot up. But there's definitely players on this year's Syracuse team that remember how chippy and close that game was.
Yeah, should be a fun one. Coming up in just a couple weeks. Syracuse forced to call a timeout on the trap on the far side. We talked about that upcoming schedule for the Purple Eagles.
ACC team, but a team that plays a style of ball where you can see some crazy upsets.
I think Coach Pierce would be plenty happy with 2-2.
Sure.
I think she's probably pretty happy with the way her team played tonight. Kept it close for a long time. 1 win would be about what you expect across that 4-game slate.
And whether or not leading returning scorer Aaliyah Parker is playing in those games will really matter quite a bit.
How about that and one? Lakia Barnes, I'm not even sure how she got it to the rim, let alone fit it in the cylinder. Barnes up to double digits. Can't tack on one more. Journey Thompson the board. Schmidt breaks the press ahead for Potts. One-on-one, Maddie Potts all the way to the rim, forcing questions and getting herself to the line.
Another Syracuse player touching the court for the first time today, Lexi McNabb.
And another foul out on Niagara as Jade Rutledge picks up 5. She's hit the quota.
Number 10, Williams will check in the line. At the line for 2 shots.
2 chances for the century mark, courtesy of Maddie Potts. There you go. Triple digits on opening night for the Orange. 2 for 2 for the freshman from Australia. We also showed you those key upcoming games for Syracuse, Tyler. We didn't point out that the ACC slate for Syracuse starts with none other than the reigning ACC champs coming back to Syracuse. Notre Dame pays a visit, and after Syracuse swept the regular season series, I'm sure the Fighting Irish are hungry for revenge.
They are, and just such a talented crew, the Fighting Irish. Olivia Miles with a triple-double yesterday in a game where Notre Dame also hit the century mark. There's going to be a lot of good guards, and the question will be, can Syracuse contain all of them or even some of them?
Yeah, everybody gets caught up in the Hannah Hidalgo buzz, preseason ACC Player of the Year, that you forget that the Fighting Irish won the ACC last year without Olivia Miles for the whole season. So they've got more guards than you can count right now.
Cassandra Prosper, also another guard that doesn't get enough due.
Oh, and Leah King, the best player from Pitt, transferred in. Schmidt for three, no. Schmidt hustles back, forces the turnover. 2-on-2, she'll slow it up for Potts. Wide open three. Bullseye. First career three from Maddie Potts puts the Orange at 104. Potts the takeaway. Ahead for Hawkins on the leak out. 106 and counting for Cuse. Right to the final whistle. These two teams are just going to race it up and down. Been a track meet all night. No reason to stop until we hear the final horn. Hawkins will give Potts another shot. No. Last chance for Niagara on the other end. Potts takes it away with 5 seconds to play. She'll take it herself and score. Potts the final touches inside the dome. Syracuse puts up 108. The offense on full display on opening night. And year three under Felicia Leggett-Jack is off and running with a win over Niagara. Syracuse dating back to 2019, undefeated at home in the non-con.